What is the influence of theatre knowledge on filmmaking? And on top of that, I want you to speak on the debate that exists between filmmakers who graduate from the National Film and Television Institute, NAFTI, and the School of Performing Arts, University of Ghana.
You want me to blur the lines between theatre and film, and looking at Legon and NAFTI, the kind of in debate over the years that has ensued between the two institutions. Legon, we don't do film. That is very unfortunate. NAFTI does a lot of film. Why am I saying that? Because film is two things, right? Technical and theory, right? When you go to NAFTI, they learn the camera, they learn the lights, they learn all of the things that make filmmaking process work. But with Legon, unfortunately, we really do not do film. We dwell much on the theater aspect of it, and it's very difficult for you to combine it to debate on the two institutions on the topic of film. Why? Because one does a lot, one does not do anything much. It's just superficial, you may call it. But, who will make a good filmmaker? You understand, eventually after the process of education, I feel it also depends on the individual, in the sense that, nobody really teaches creativity, right? But a lot of things inspire our creativity, combined with our technical savvy, with the use of equipment and all that. So with a NAFTI person, he can learn good, learn with the camera, learn with the light, with all the technical know-how he can master in that field, but will be a good filmmaker anyway. But you have somebody who have not studied much into technology, into equipment, just has the theory base or the theater background, that can be a good filmmaker. So what strikes the balance for me is something worth talking about. When I was looking for an entry into Legon, a man told me that what would be my interest or course to pick up. I told them I really want to do film. And he said, if I want to do film, he begs me. That's what he said. He said, I beg you, do not go to Legon. Rather, go to NAFTI. But I didn't see the interest for me in going to NAFTI. And knowing myself, I know that wherever I find myself, I can shine and do my best. So I went to Legon, but amazingly, a lot of things really helped, because I was doing music, dance, and theater. The combination of this form of art really gave me a broad base of information and knowledge, that I could tap from in my filmmaking career. In Legon, we did analysis and interpretation. 4 good years of that course, for me, I felt it was the most boring thing to do. But you see, if you look at a script from the perspective of cinematography, directing, however you see it, from whichever department you look at the script, you are able to break the script down, and the kind of understanding that you have into the scripts may not be preview to a lot of them. Why? Because 4 years of doing interpretation, reading over 300 books and analyzing them, for me is magical. Anytime you hold any script and you're doing your analysis into it. And a lot of the project that I have been involved in, or my company has been involved in, we look at the script and we're able to break the script down to the point that even the directors and the writers have to go back and rewrite their story, because the information and the kind of understanding that we give to the script really, for me, makes them reconsider writing the story, or taking up some of the advice we give to them and integrating it into their story. And always it becomes a good story. Legon students that come out from Legon, are more likely to outshine NAFTI students. That is if they are serious. And I'm a perfect example of that. I've had opportunities to have entered into competition with NAFTI students. And frankly speaking, I've never been to a competition with NAFTI student that I've lost. I always go there and win. If I have 3 films or 2 projects, even if it's one project, I would win. And for me, it shows that if you have the theoretical framework and you are able to push your way through with the technical savvy, then you would be a better filmmaker. And since nobody teaches creativity, that is left to the individual, is discretional. Whoever is able to excel more in the creative domain, that person would be the talk of town or society. And for me, I feel that creativity, yes, it's individuals' inspiration and motivation. Technically, we all can learn. If you are at a disadvantage and your school does not teach the technical aspect of filmmaking, they call something these days University of YouTube or University of Google. You can Google your way out and YouTube your way out and learn. It's not difficult to study on online platforms. And I've done a lot of online studies. And for me, I know that I didn't have very good background in the technical aspect of filmmaking. So I bought my cameras, I worked hard for them, and I did a lot of YouTubing. Even behind me, I'm doing a lot of stuff, and some of them, if I get myself stuck somewhere, I go to YouTube and hello myself out, So for me, Legon, yes, you are not at a disadvantage when it comes to, excelling in the filmmaking aspect. You can do better because, you learn much more than, the NAFTIs do, not in film sense, but in theater sense. And if you look at the history of film, it traces back to the theater. Theater is the foundation of all art forms in the filmmaking sense. Acting started from Greece, and whatever things we've been learning in school, and then we have all of this history, all of this information, and you are able to understand music. One of my strong aspect is film scoring or sound. I don't write the score, or I don't even play the keyboard or piano, whatever. I don't do that. But if you give me a score and you ask me to mix it with ambience, with suspenseful instrumental, I will take your score, all right, which is flat, and I would make music out of it. Because on campus Legon, I studied what we call music studio or sound studio. And I did also a research paper that I wrote on the role of music in film, all under the music department. So it gives me, very strong backing, in my perception of filmmaking and my understanding of sound when it comes to film. So Onazali Gomez Tito, Hambla Studios, was also a student of the University of Ghana, did the scoring. And he has understand, even in the scoring, he's doing analysis within the score, and when he's playing, he has so much of emotion and passion driven when he's working, because he understands what goes into it, from clashes of a lot of, information and knowledge from Legon background or from theater art background. And when he gives the score to me, as flat as it is, he gives it to me, and later when he sees the movie, he's like, "Hey, William, you really give it a different, a feel to it by adding that and adding that and adding that." And I have libraries of sounds, that I'm able to put together to create and make the score work for the mood of the scene. And we can debate about it, but I feel that if you are from a theater art background, you have a very strong backing. Anytime you'd want to move into the film, I'm sure it will go along with you, and it will give you a very strong presence to excel, more than your colleagues that did film for 4 years. The only advantage they will have is maybe the technical aspect. But when you also YouTube yourself out and you have your camera to play, you are at equal pegging. What for me works is how you are able to better tell your story technically, and that, for me it will give you an edge over them. So NAFTI, they are good, but trust me, if a Legon student want to venture into film from a theater art background, he'll be something else.